sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
What's good, TV?
You know what time it is, man. It's your boy Face from Flight School TV. I'm here with Mashawn from Crime Page, Trap House, Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Located on 79th and Cottage Grove. Man, if y'all not in tune with what's going on with this brand right here that I'm sitting with, you're about to find out why I'm sitting here. And I felt like it was very important for me to come in here and chop it up with you.
I'm glad you're here, bro.
Yeah, because like I was telling you off camera, you got one of those brands that I really love. I really love a brand that creates some dope shit, but also got a meaning, a message behind it. You know what I'm saying? Because we living in a time of like throwaway fashion. You know what I'm saying? It's here today, is tomorrow or something else. But I feel like brands like yours is one of those brands that will last over time, because it's not just about like, I'm gonna print up this cool shirt, you gonna like it, then it's gonna be a next wave. No, it's like you printing out like this shirt right here, Crime Pays. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's how I discovered your brand. I was shopping at Leaders. You had a collaboration drop at Leaders. Shout out to Corey and Diego from up there at Leaders, all the Leaders family. Shout out to y'all. Y'all know, yeah, you know what time it is. But yeah, so that's how I discovered your brand, and I'm like, damn, okay, I see Crime Pays, it caught my attention. Then after that, I'm like, what? Let me see the whole shirt. I see the back, and that's where it really caught me. It was like, yeah, crime pays, but it paid the police, the politicians. You know what I'm saying? So like, that caught my attention. I'm like, man, I gotta meet this guy. I gotta chop it up, man. Corey put us together, and now we here. It's a beautiful thing, man. Thank you for being here, man.
My pleasure, brother.
It's an honor, man, for real. So, man, before we get too deep into the actual brand and the space and the location that we in, I want to start with like people getting to know you and how you began on this journey that you on right now. So like, you grew up in Chicago?
So I was born in Roseland. I grew up out in Markham, Harvey area. I had a lot of experiences that led me to be moving around different parts of the city. Shit, from kindergarten to shit, damn near 8th grade.
Yeah, I got a similar story to that, because like I grew up in a household where my OG wasn't with my father. You know what I'm saying? So I would spend time with my father on 83rd and Hermitage.
Understood.
And you know what I'm saying? Then I go home to my mom when she stayed in the Hundreds. Then we moved from the Hundreds to Alsip to Chicago Heights. You know what I'm saying? So I done bounced around myself a lot. But one thing about that is that I feel like I got a point of view that's unique from a lot of people that only grew up in their area. Because I grew up in Chicago, and I also grew up in the suburbs, and I was able to see different ways people live, different ways people communicate, different ways the police might address certain situations in these, you know, in different neighborhoods. Because when I was growing up on 83rd, they'll pull up just for us walking. If you more than 2 deep, they'll pull up, jump out. Hey, get on the wall, stretch out. We searching y'all for what? We just walk in our neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Compared to when I lived at Alsip, man, you can walk 5, 6 deep out there, and they just think you having a good time. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna dive into a lot of the politics that we see in Chicago and all that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in tune for sure.
Right on.
And so you grew up in a lot of different places. So where would you consider like the place that you stayed the longest amount of time?
You know, I often think about that. Like I always said that I'm Cook County. You know what I'm talking about? Because like as an adult, I've worked all throughout the city, from the north to the west. You know what I'm saying? Like I've lived out west. I've lived in South Shore. I've lived, you know, everywhere in the city of Chicago. As a child, Markham, Harvey, like that's hometown. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm giving that thought. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel a sense of like pride and connection like I want to. You know what I'm saying? And
because you moved around a lot.
For that reason, and for other reasons that I may not even know of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, I mean,
So-
when you're a kid, you're a kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like your experiences, you know what I'm saying? Like they can shape you. You know what I'm saying? And like oftentimes, you know, they do. But I feel like I've had more shaping experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like the 15 and up.
Right,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
because that's when you're really coming into your own. So how would you describe your childhood growing up? Like, what did you grow up in a lot of poverty? Did you have both parents in the crib? Like, how was that dynamic?
So I'm grateful that both of my parents is alive. So
Shout out to that.
yeah, that feels good. And like I'ma choose my words wisely. You know what I'm talking about? I had I'ma choose my words wisely, and I'ma choose my perspective like in a way that's most positive, uplifting, which is most authentic for me. I had two amazing parents. They both were in my household, in the house. I grew up in a 2-parent household. One of my parents was extremely faith-based, you know what I'm saying, which gave me an amazing foundation, you know what I'm saying. Another one of my parents, like, is a dreamer, you know what I'm saying, a hardcore dreamer and a hard-ass worker, you know what I'm talking about. And like, at times that can be smooth, you know what I'm saying, then at other times, like, that shit can be the fuck out of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the youngest out of 3 children, so like there was often like a story that I heard about how the house was prior to me being born that I ain't never experienced.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like my OG had me, she said it was like the difficult birth, you know what I'm talking about. And then like after that is when religion came into the picture, and then like that's when the household shifted, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So like shit kind of went left, you know what I'm saying. At the age when my siblings could bounce, they bounced, you know what I'm talking about. And like my parents ain't together now type shit, you know what I'm saying. Like my family, you know what I'm saying, we working to be tight.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? But like,
everybody, like, ain't no family out there perfect, man. Come on.
Hell no. And I'm grateful.
Yeah,
you know
if we
what I'm
gonna be
saying?
real,
That's
you know what I'm
like, yeah.
saying? But it's a blessing that you was able to have, you know what I'm saying, especially during them early years that you had both parents in the crib. Because one thing that I know that I from experience, like, cause my pop's been locked up since I was 10 years old.
Right.
He's serving a L. You know what I'm saying? So he don't, without the possibility of parole. You know what I'm saying? So I know once they took my father off the street, I seen how that dynamic changed, and I see how, you know what I'm saying, a shorty can easily be misled at that point, because at that point you like, all right, that was my father right there. He was the one giving me the game. Then the next thing you know what I'm saying, you following behind. In some situations you might be following behind the wrong people that might be misleading you, and that happened with a lot of our youth in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody born, you know what I'm saying, a killer. Ain't nobody born, you know what I'm saying, with these intentions, and you know what I'm saying, that shit is developed. And oftentimes, if we gonna be real, you know what I'm saying, a lot of motherfuckers want to look at the shorties like, man, y'all ass tweaking, but shit, who taught them? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who you gotta really, that's when there's some real self-evaluation coming to play. Like, damn, who was y'all OGs? Like, who put y'all on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where y'all learning this shit from? Because I feel like it was a gap where, you know what I'm saying, like, the way shit was to the way shit is. And I think that got a lot of variables involved. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, I ain't never had that experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, growing up. At all. Like, I've always been presented with the positive side of things, and I'm grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like I'm gonna just leave it like that. I'm grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that has given me perspective. That has given me a certain type of curiosity that certain people don't have, which is a good thing to have.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and I got family members that, you know, I would visit as a child, family members that I would go visit as an adult, that I would kick it with as an adult, where like that curiosity was able to be answered. You know what I'm saying? Like we went to church and 79th and Western. So like we're like sometimes we drive from Markham out here or from Roseland to church, and like the ability to go in and come out.
Yeah.
The ability to go out and come back in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that was planting the seeds for me to have the deep relationships that I have, which allowed me to do what I'm doing in the community, to have the merchandise, to advocate, you know what I'm saying, and have empathy for the people who don't understand because they outside of it. You know what I'm saying? Which allows me to communicate to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it really give you a unique point of view. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, if you grow up in only one environment, that a lot of times that's all you know. You know what I'm saying? And so how can you offer any type of alternative if you haven't seen an alternative?
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? So that I think that worked in your favor more than it hindered you. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely dope. So at what point in time, like, did you start paying attention to like the negative things and the bad things that we experience as a community? Because that's what Trap House Chicago, and I also want to get into how you formed the name. But Trap House Chicago, when I see the brand, this is just my point of view. When I'm looking at it, I see it as like something that is like clothing is a vehicle to get your message across. That's what I see when I see like your shirt, the crime drought or the crime page. I'm seeing the message, but you're using the clothing to get that point across. At what point in time did you start getting to the point where you like, man, this some bullshit, like I gotta say something, I gotta do something in your own way?
All right, so I ain't never really told my story like this, like making a direct connection to experiences, which has influenced and led to what I'm currently doing. So like 118th in Princeton, that's my grandmother's house. That's where my mother, she grew up in that house before she was flown to different spots and sent to different family members. We would spend nights at that house sometimes when like shit was going crazy out in Markham. And like my youngest uncle Anthony, he got killed right on the tracks there in Roseland. It's like, you know what I'm saying, them separation tracks.
Sorry to hear that.
So I think I was like 10, 11, and I remember being in the hospital. I remember the ambulance coming. I remember us all going to the hospital. I remember my father. Actually my mother and my father was like beefing at that time, but I remember my father coming to the hospital. I remember just seeing people cry. I remember going to the funeral. You know what I'm saying? I remember everything that went on, and this was like, again, like 95, like, you know, shit going up.
Yeah.
And then always like certain churches got that like we saved and they not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
They heathens type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like not to say that was the exact message that was going across, and that was kind of at least my perspective as a shorty.
Right.
But like I was always curious because like I never seen people as bad people, but this is the information that was being presented. Because my cousins weren't bad people. You know what I'm saying? Like it actually didn't feel good not being able to do the shit that we said we couldn't do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Why that shit? Like Kanye said, like everything I want to do me feel bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How the fuck bro said that shit? But like that shit was real.
Biggie said a line like that too. If he was like, after going to heaven, I'd rather go to hell. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Right. Smoking weed with my guys, you know what I'm saying? So
like those are just questions that like you suppress as a kid because you don't want your ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't want to go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Like fast forward a lot of years, like, you know, like fast forwarding through that, you know, but also I say it like this is personal, but like when we'd be like hopping from place to place, I would find myself sleeping next to the people that would be like the bad people or the ones that might go to hell. And it's like, but why are we in this situation? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we save type shit, you know what I'm saying? So it was just a lot of questions. But fast forwarding to like I'm an adult now, 18, 19, and like two of my cousins got shot, and these were the cousins that one of the cousins, like we would just kick it like every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like clean our cars up, clean our rims up. You know what I'm saying? Go hit the club. We park a lot pimping. We can't not park a lot pimping type shit, but like we in the park a lot flexing.
Yeah, you already know
that. Thinking we flexing type shit. You know, so another one of the cousins, he's a little older than me, and he was like the one that's like really with the shits. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And both of them got shot. My older cousin that was like really with like, you know, like really banging, he didn't make it. And like that hit me hard, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't like a shorty just watching my parents. It was like that's my cousin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm watching my other cousins cry. I'm watching my auntie cry.
In the Factory Follow-Up segment tonight, it was a violent and deadly Christmas weekend in Chicago. According to the Chicago Tribune, 61 people were shot in the Windy City over Christmas weekend, and at least 11 people died from their wounds. Police say these weren't random acts of violence.
These were deliberate and planned shootings by one gang against another. They were targeted, knowing fully well that individuals would be at the home.
Yeah, last night had a bad dream and I swear it gave me the chills. I'm walking through my neighborhood and it seems so real. No, it wasn't no love, and I ain't see my niggas. All I saw was blood, I'm surrounded by killers. It's a bad dream. It was just a bad dream. It was all just a bad dream. It was all just a bad dream. It's a bad dream. It was just a bad dream. It was all just a bad dream. It was all just a bad dream. It was all just bad dreams under the roof of 16.
And you at a different age to understand it a little bit more and feel it a little bit more.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like that hit me different, you know. So right around that time I was thinking to myself that like I want to do something more, you know, than just the revenge, you know, but like I want to do something more. And like 'cause the revenge part, that shit didn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? Like just even talking about it, that shit didn't feel right.
Right.
But I know they got a mama too though.
Right.
Like, what if they got a cousin? You know, what if they got a, you know?
Yeah. It's a vicious cycle, man.
You know, and then I was at Columbia at the time, and I was like, I want to start doing something different, something more, but I didn't know what. And I met this older black guy. He was the first black guy I seen with a suit on a Monday. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no church.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Fuck is broke, you know?
Yeah.
And we started talking, you know what I'm saying? He introduced me to like the non-profit organization that he was working at, like right downtown, right around the corner from Columbia. And I volunteered there for like 3.5, 4 years until I got hired into a position. Within that 3 to 4 years, from being at Columbia and then deciding to leave Columbia and start a business, like I met a lot of people, you know. I went into business with a group of people. We started doing marketing for a couple streetwear boutiques, putting on events. We had a brand. I started my own brand, and like those first 2 brands were all about making impact in communities, and that shit being dope too. You know what I'm saying? So like, I've always liked to buy clothes.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? But that new feeling of I want to do something, and then just like serendipity, I meet this black guy that's the plug. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting this, you know, master's level degree internship at 19. You know what I'm saying? And I volunteer, and that shit is fulfilling, just like making some dope ass merch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, so like that's just been like Trap House, the idea behind it ain't nothing new to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always used streetwear as a tool to communicate with my peers and those that I mentor. You know, mentoring just communicate with people.
Yeah. See, like me creating Flight School TV is a similar situation to how you just described. Like you see, like I always been a consumer. You know what I'm saying? So I always been shopping with these brands. I always been the dude that stay in the mall. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I kind of created, and I got to the point where I wanted to do something about a problem that I seen too. You know what I'm saying? Like I see like everybody want to highlight the rappers of Chicago or the rappers of all these big cities and talk to the athletes, the entertainers, and I always been like, man, but you know, like what Don C and them doing is kind of dope. Like I'm like what Corey and them is doing over there, leaders is dope. Like I want to hear, if I watch an interview, I want to hear what they got to say. You know what I'm saying? Because music, fashion, it go hand in hand. But I just feel like in this lane, it's just get overlooked so much. And I'm like, man, you know what? I see a problem with that. And you know what I'm saying? Like that's what led to the creation of Flight School TV. So it was kind of like I seen a problem, something that I felt was a problem. And you know what I'm saying? Instead of just sitting there like, man, I'll wait till somebody gonna do it. Facts. Like, man, fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
why not me?
Take the opportunity. See the opportunity, fulfill it.
Exactly. So how did you come up with the name Trap House Chicago?
All right, so my intentions, well, first I was working at this non-for-profit organization, this after-school program on 51st and Halsted. All right, so it was like, about 10 young people that'll come each day. And one day, like half of the group wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like 3 or 4 of my main guys wasn't there. So me and some of the other people, participants that was there, we went to go get them. They was like, I think I know where they at, bro. So I'm like, all right, well, come on. So we're walking north on Halsted, and they're like, yeah, they inside this crib right here. And it's like the straight bando, So I'm like, all right, I know why they in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, or I have an idea of why they may be in there and what they may be in there doing. I ain't tripping on it at all. You know what I'm saying? And they can go there when we're done with this after school program. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do this shit balanced.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Y'all going there, nah, fuck that. You know?
Yeah, you supposed to be on that. You supposed to be on our time.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, go back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
when you're on your time, you do it. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I see what you're saying.
So I yell their name real loud, you know what I'm saying? Like, not on no, like, bring y'all ass outside, but like, yo, get y'all motherfucking ass outside, you can still feel and hear the love. So they stick their head out the wood, and they like, oh, shit. So they come on down, and we go back to the, you know what I'm saying, to the center. So like, as they were coming down, I'm standing there like, God, like, give me a way to keep not just my guys, but more, you know what I'm saying, like in a space that's safe, that's welcoming, that the opportunity, it's opportunity rich, because people go inside a trap or a bando to make some money. You get a chance to get, like, I trust you enough for you to fuck up. And if you do, you know what's gonna happen. That's accountability. But if you don't, you know what's gonna happen. And then it's like, you good. Like, so give me a space that's welcoming, that's opportunity rich, that's cool to go in. You can relax, and then like the idea hit me for Trap House Chicago. And Trap at that time was teens reaching all potential. That's what it was gonna be, a non-for-profit organization. All right, after doing some research and talking with some mentors, it was like, no, and really like knowing the need of the community and hearing from the community and seeing from my own experience, like, we need more for-profit businesses, not palms up as businesses.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, that self-sustained, so we can do what we want to do.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
and distribute that wealth that we create as we see fit.
Boom, So switching from a non-profit to a for-profit, like the teens reaching all potential, that's our internal mission. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that. We ain't never forgot that. You know what I'm saying? But now it's truth reaching all people. All right? Because this is a restorative justice-based business. That's one of the philosophies and practices that I learned when I was working with the young folks, with the teenagers. It's this restorative justice, which is my life. And I'll explain that later, if we go that route. But like, restorative justice says that the most marginalized and oppressed people are like validating the needs, the experiences, and the expressions. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of truth that I'm referring to when I say truth reaching all people. Like, we are a platform for people to share their truths. You know what I'm saying? And we use our merchandise to communicate our truths. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how the name. That's a long ass answer. That's how the name came.
I love that answer. That's a beautiful answer. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it can be articulated any better. You know what I'm saying? For real. And if y'all not understanding why I'm sitting here with Mashawn right now in Trap House Chicago on 79th and Cottage, now you starting to understand why this was very important to me, and I feel like to y'all that's viewing this right now. You know what I'm saying? Get in tune, man. I just want to let y'all know about that part. So, you know what I'm saying? Just continuing on, like with the restorative justice part that you brought up. Like, how are you approaching that? Like, what got you in? I know we kind of got into what got you into it. Like, how far you taking that? Like, what's going on with that situation?
All right, so what a lot of people don't know, just because I don't talk about it a lot, the people that consume Trap House or that know about me through Trap House Chicago don't know or are not aware until now of like the other life that like my professional side, like my professional career. I have a lot of people that I know from the professional career that don't know about Trap House Chicago or know about it but don't have an understanding of it, you know, because they don't understand the power of streetwear, you know, so, or at least how I perceive streetwear, you know. So we were doing this contract teaching like teen mothers about financial literacy, and like, you know what I'm saying, like, in order to teach somebody, you got to be in relationship with them. You know what I'm saying? Like they got to be cool with each other, cool with you, so the space can be conducive. Right. Like the space can have a drip to teach, and for people to learn,
and allow truth to come out.
Boom. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was coming late, they was leaving early. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it ain't on them. It's on us to. You know what I'm saying? Like, and at the time I'm still like 20. You know what I'm saying? So like, they wondering who is he? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, a few on that, but like, you know, because we value the information that we had, which is financial literacy, because we were learning as we were teaching, and because we wanted the best for the people that we were teaching it to, we was like, how can we have this space set up for dialogue? We brought somebody in, she did a peace circle, and that was my first time ever seeing that shit. It was raw, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, you gotta teach me how to do that. So she sent me to the training. I went to the Peace Circle Keeper training so that I can learn how to work mind control on people. You know what I'm saying? That has circles and shit. But that training didn't teach me that. That shit taught me how to like have mind control for myself, how to be in proper relationship with myself, to identify my values and have the courage or the power to choose to live in alignment with my values.
Right.
Prior to that training, I was out here like cars, clothes, and chicks. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when I was mentoring. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to teach people how to respect themselves, but like
still enjoy life in a way that you knew.
That I knew, you know what I'm saying? That like not being aware of the ripples that I was creating that could potentially lead to situations that lead to crime and violence. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like after doing that training, like that shit changed my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so restorative justice started as something for me, started as something to do for other people, but that shit transformed how I know and show up.
Yeah, because a lot. I think that aspect is a point that I feel like all the shorties should understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, self-awareness. Self-awareness is one of the most important things, like, in life. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, it's very few things that I will put above self-awareness. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to know who you are. Because if you don't, that's how you'll end up easily becoming some shit that you wasn't even meant to be. If you don't really know who you are, and the clues is always there. The answers is always there. a lot of times we try to drown out them voices like, no, I'm gonna look like a lame, you know what I'm saying? My niggas on this, I'm trying to be on this art shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to draw and shit, man, I'm gonna look like a lame. But really, that inner voice is, in my opinion, that's God telling you who you are, your purpose. God might be telling you like, man, look, shorty, I blessed you with a gift to be able to draw. You ignoring that shit to go over here and chill with these niggas who laughing at your ass. You need to self-evaluate, get in tune with yourself a lot more. I feel like that message right there, change a lot of people's lives. If they stop lying to themselves about who they is. You know what I'm saying? And once you accept who you is, everybody else gonna accept you for who you are. Cause you know what I'm saying? Like I see it all the time. Shorties think they, you know what I'm saying, they gotta act a certain way to get respect. And not knowing when you get older, like to where the point that where we at, you start understanding like, no, like people ain't gonna respect you for that. Cause they gonna know that that's fake. You know what I'm saying? People gonna respect you for being you. You know what I'm saying? Even if you a weirdo and you into this other shit, motherfuckers gonna be like, man, that nigga weird.
Yeah, but that's bro.
But that's bro.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers gonna respect it. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't being fake, you being real. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, man, that training that you learned, I feel like, man, if a lot of more people need that type of training in their life.
It's dope. You know, I wouldn't even just say that it's just for young folks, you know what I'm saying, who don't know themselves. Yeah. It's like, it has become like the generation that's like 2 generations up, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if you don't know yourself? You done taught your children how to not know yourself and how to cope with that. And they done taught, now this has become a norm. You know what I'm saying? To the point where knowing yourself is like, what you talking about? Right. You know what I'm saying? So like the youth, hell yeah. The adults, hell yeah. Us as a people, you know what I'm saying? Like our legacy, like there's been intentions to strip us of our legacy. Like it is important for us to know and to determine who we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we know. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we can know through looking back, but also like we need to know looking in currently. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like that's why restorative justice, and I would love to explain it, you know what I'm saying, like, because it's about wholeness, you know what I'm saying, a spiritual
man, look, man, we ain't got nothing but time, man. Break it down to me, because I want to know, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to learn myself, you know what I'm saying?
All right, so there's levels that I'm seeking to introduce restorative justice. Right now, I'm seeking to introduce restorative justice as an alternative to the current approach to being in community. All right?
Which is
the punitive approach, which is CPD, which is the police, which is the judge.
So you must get real pissed off when you see motherfucker like Trump go up there and be like, Chicago, get it together, or I'm sending the motherfucking military out there.
I don't get pissed off at all. I understand why he's saying what he's saying, because he has shared how he thinks. So how he thinks, I appreciate him speaking in alignment with how he thinks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just happen to think another way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't think that a punitive approach is a wrong or a bad thing, because the goals are good. The police say they're here to protect and to serve and make communities safe. Cool, so are we, bro.
Yeah, some of them are.
But your approach that you're taking is not the most effective approach. If that's truly your goals, then you need to learn this restorative justice approach. Facts. Because like it's gonna like make you more effective. It's gonna have you more at peace. You can go back at home. You know your safety. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Uh-huh. And like that's how I'm currently introducing what restorative justice is. Because that's where a lot of our attention is. Because once we get that, then it's about going within. You know what I'm saying? That's why this collection here is heavy crime focused. Because I don't even believe crime exists, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Like, who determined what was right and what was wrong?
And was that a crime? You know what I'm saying? But like right now.
Trust me, I'm right there with you, bro.
Facts. So like right now, Trap House Chicago, truth reaching all people is our human existence, our American existence. You know what I'm saying? As far as the system, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's why it's crime pays, crime drought, fuck crime. You know what I'm saying? But like simple words, but deep concepts. After we move through this, then it's gonna be about going within, finding wholeness, you know what I'm saying? Like stillness, calmness, abundance. You know what I'm saying? Because like spiritually, you can't oppress us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
facts.
Like America has created the opportunities for people of color to identify with the spiritual truth, which is only going to reflect outwardly in the physical way. You know what I'm saying? So like which is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a dope opportunity if we choose so as a people. Right. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I like we account for a whole $1 trillion.
And
all BS aside, it all comes down to we got to survive. I mean, even warriors put their spears down on Sundays. We got to survive here in this country. Because I'm not going back to Africa. We got to survive here. And for us to survive here, white folks, black folks, Korean folks, Mexican folks, Puerto Ricans, we got to understand each other.
If I could, I'd give you more. I feel around me. If I could, I'd give you more. I feel around me.
I feel like everything that you're saying and everything that you're trying to accomplish right now, I feel like with the curtain, with the atmosphere that we living in right now, I feel like the climate is perfect for this. Especially when now you got guys like Charlemagne from Breakfast Club talking about mental health. That's been plaguing our community for years and nobody paid attention to it. My little brother experiencing that personally, you know what I'm saying? Where it's been traumatic experience. Like, and that get overlooked, you know what I'm saying? So I like to see that. And Charlemagne, he is one of the people creating the climate. Let's talk about this mental health issue that we all see. We all know somebody in our family like, man, look, hey, Uncle Junie crazy as hell, like, his ass tweaking. You know what I'm saying? We all got family members and we all see that. But also at the same time, that conversation is being had that we haven't had. We also seeing more talk about prison reform. You know what I'm saying? With the Jay-Z's and Meek Mills being able to be big enough to take the shots that's gonna come with it. Because this is a big business, man. These motherfuckers ain't trying to lose their money. So shit, you start disrupting the norms, you gonna catch them shots. And it's dope to see guys like Charlemagne, guys like Meek Mills take them early hits so we can flourish right under the radar. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like everything that you're saying and everything you doing and trying to do, the climate is perfect for it. You know what I'm saying? Would you agree to like how like that assessment?
That's why I'm doing it. So like hell yeah, even using streetwear, Yeah. I've always consumed particular like brands and boutiques, whether online or in Chicago. But I was beginning to touch on like my professional career. Like I was a high school teacher, you know what I'm saying, where I've used peace circles to build lasting relationships, a culture of love. You know what I'm saying? Like I've taught teachers K through 12, you know what I'm saying, like from kindergarten through high school on how to like build a structure in your classroom, like from deans to principals to how to hold students accountable so that they can grow, not just punish them. So you can reduce the number of suspensions, the number of expulsions, the number of in-school arrests. Like I taught police officers for 1.5 years, you know what I'm saying, like that, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't as impactful, you know what I'm saying, but like it was an experience. Like I taught judges, you know what I'm saying, most recently in North Lawndale, like one of the first restorative justice courts, you know what I'm saying. So like this restorative justice shit, like I have a lot of experience in it. I'm grateful, you know what I'm saying, and like yeah, I've done a lot of work, you know what I'm saying. So like these were once like worded differently, PowerPoints,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like now it's just like, because I'm not working within any system, like this is for community members and not just, because you got communities that steal system.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you working at a particular place or you getting grants or you know what I'm saying, like you still system minded.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then like beneath that is like they kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like the ones that like you serve in the community, or the ones that's not coming inside your church, the ones that's not making a meaningful contribution to culture, like that's a deeper depth of community. But I want they kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I want to continue on this conversation. I know, you know, people come to flight school for, you know, all the fly shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll put y'all up on a lot of brands y'all probably ain't know about. You know what I'm saying? But these are conversations that really mean something to me, and that's why, another reason why I feel like it's important for more people like yourself to have a platform to say this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said at the beginning, everybody want to talk to rappers. Everybody want to talk to athletes and the entertainers, but a lot of times the dopest shit is going on right here.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? And this is a prime example of what I mean when I say that type of shit. And this is why we need more platforms. We need more flight schools. I mean, it's dope that I'm one of the only ones doing this shit, but it's also sad that I'm one of the only ones doing this shit. You know what I'm saying?
inspiring somebody, bro.
Yeah, hopefully, man, because like these motherfuckers, I feel like we get so caught up in looking at like the glitter and shit. You know what I'm saying? Or looking at the cupcakes on the table and not paying attention to what's in the oven. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that shit cool, it's sweet. You know what I'm saying? It's candy.
Yeah.
But I'm giving y'all ass some soul food, you feel me? Like, so what can we expect next, man? Like, this was a heavy interview. We full of a lot of knowledge and understanding. You know what I'm saying? We got it. We agree on a lot. We disagree. You know what I'm saying? But what's next for Trap House Chicago?
Man, what's now is this crime drought. You know what I'm saying? And like that's an individual challenge. You know what I'm saying? That's for you. That's for me. I'm gonna say it like this. That's for me to decide to accept for myself. You know, and it's an individual challenge. You know what I'm talking about? It's an individual challenge, bro. Like to accept a life of 100% free of crime. You know what I'm saying? And that's easy. You know what I'm saying? For some. You know what I'm saying? It could be hard work for others. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what's now, this merchandise, like when you wear it, when you look at it, when people read the merchandise that you got, like when you wearing it, it's just, it's a certain type of energy, you know what I'm saying, that like, that you're giving, which means you're gonna get that back. It's like it's a possibility.
Yeah.
You know, that like oftentimes people don't even think is real, you know.
Yeah.
So crime drought, come get this meditation, come get these affirmations. We got a list of affirmations that when you read them, you know what I'm saying, the affirmation is how you make a declaration about the world, about your reality. Like, I am happy, I am healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I am rich, I am abundant. You know what I'm saying? And like, we had like no system formed against me shall prosper. I have legal, lucrative ideas. You know what I'm saying? I see my community whole and healthy. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like a bunch of affirmations. And then come just build with us. Like that's what's now. What's next? We just did our Red Summer project with Heavy Crowns, the Honorable Hakeem Doe, Paris Williams from Moby. 27
That's
cities.
my boy, man. Shout out to Paris, man.
Yeah, big ups to P.
That's my boy.
We just did 27 cities in 33 days. Like building relationships, connecting with people, peace circles all around the nation, pop-up shops all around the nation, street performing all around the nation. Saying that to say what's next is like we're gonna be going back and building from the relationships that we established. You know what I'm saying? So like a couple pop-ups in DC, going back to Indy, going back up to Toronto and Montreal, going back to Dallas, you know what I'm saying, like back to California, back to New York, back to Florida, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So like that's really what's next. Expanding the brand, making impact, you got to come to the store so you can really know what's going on. Cause I don't be promoting everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't about looking like you working. It's about really like working. You know, so like my Instagram, like, you're not gonna see everything there. The website, you are not gonna see everything there. A lot of the conversations that we have in this space be like real conversations that's like, we just not putting them on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? We're not putting them on Facebook. Like, pull up to the store. If you really try to, you know what I'm saying, really trying to build.
Yeah.
You know, so
big facts, man. And I love the fact that one of my favorite brands collaborated with one of my new favorite brands, you know what I'm saying? That you did that collaboration with Leaders. And that's a stamp of approval that a lot of people don't get, you know what I'm saying? So, man, if the big homies co-sign, like, shit, man, let everything else fall in place.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But definitely get in tune with the location, with the message, with the building, man. That's what it's all about, man. Like, even if you don't agree with a lot of things that might have been said, you know what I'm saying? At least open your mind up to stopping in and chopping it up, having a conversation.
Come tell me. Let me know. Let me know.
Yeah,
if you
stop
think I'm
in
tripping.
and be like, man, you know what? I saw that, man. I don't agree with this, but I agree with this. And those conversations is how we build. You know what I'm saying? And definitely, it's a welcoming environment. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Face, Flight School TV. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with my boy Mashawn. Man, get in tune, man. Trap House Chicago, Flight School TV. We out.
All peace, all love.
Sequence start. 6, 5, 4,